That's your gets it head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you had drilled 2 holes behind the guide arms.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tie on right there. And then you put a gets it on behind it.
That just keeps it floating nice and level. I like that dual setup you do where you slide that other weight down and it gets it floating level.
So anyway, when you set that in the water, there's enough float on that gets it. Well, you can see the head by itself hangs level.
Oh, where's it at? Yeah, there it is. Because you drilled a hole in it.
Mm-hmm. And so when that gets it's on there, it floats dead level in the water. And in the winter time, that is deadly. That gets it hanging down there like that. You don't really cast or retrieve it. You just fish it vertical and get it right on your nose and just let it hang there. Just the natural current down there. You can bobble it with your rod once in a while, and this thing will jiggle up. And there's no doubt when you get a hit, because they just knock the living tar out of it. And the other thing that I do is actually end up with 2 gets it, because what I do is I tie a barrel swivel on here, and then above on the other side of the barrel swivel, use one of these hooks here, and you run your line through it, and up here you use about a 1-ounce sinker and a bead underneath it, and that bead helps hold this hook flat. So you've got it gets it on here, and when the sinker mashes down on this hook, it holds it out flat. So you got it gets it up here and it gets it down here, and there again fish will hit that sinker, so you put a bait up there by it so they'll hit the bait and not the sinker. And I've caught fish, well, in fact I won a pretty big winter tournament here on Table Rock and I won the tournament in a matter of about 10 minutes, because on 3 straight drops with this rig we were catching these fish 65 feet deep, but I landed over, let's see what we end up with, had 6 bass that weighed 26 pounds and something, so they were over 4 pounds apiece, and I caught these I caught 2 at a time on 3 straight drops. I hooked up on 2 fish. So when you're in a big school of fish like that, you know, after you hook one and you swim it around, there's a good chance that another fish will grab the other bait. But anyway, won that tournament, and I don't know, that was the first place we stopped, so I idled around and located the fish, and we dropped a buoy out there, and my buddy Kelly that was fishing with me, he had a spoon tied on, and I told him, I said, well, you fish the spoon first and I'll fish the gets it rig, so we'll see which they might hit better. And anyway, they were eating this thing, because as soon as I stopped at 65 feet and shut my reel off, slack got out of there. He goes, whoa! I go, oh, there's one. I thought, oh man, I told him, I said, man, this thing's really getting heavy. And so anyway, he put his rod down. He said, oh man, he says, I see it, and he says, oh my gosh, he says, you got 2 of them. So here comes these 2 big bass, so he gets them both in there. So unhooks them, and he got the live well started. I straightened my gets-its up and punched my button, and I was going back down there again. He just got the other fish put in the live well. I shut my reel off and goes, oh, I says, I'm hooked up again. Did that 3 times in a row, 3 straight drops, and I doubled up every time, had over 26 pounds of bass, and won the tournament in less than the first 10 minutes we fished. So that's how deadly it can be.
And this is just me and Bo bullshitting after shooting a video, so I just decided to turn the camera back on. I don't know why. While we're at it, Bo, you're always telling good stories. Why don't you tell us a story? Let's call this a little story time with Bo segment. Maybe we can get other people to tell their fishing stories.
Oh.
How about...
what kind of story you want to hear?
Let me see, so many of them. How about the time you had to wait at the ramp for a gentleman to return for his property?
Oh, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. We were over at Grand Lake and put it in at Wolf Creek. It's right there in Grove. The Wolf Creek ramp is. And I don't know how old some of you guys are, but the old stick steering boats we used to have, something similar to like a Glastron, and had the seats set right on the floor of the boat, and you had stick steering up front, and then the back seat was back by the back of the boat by the spill well. And if you remember, they just had a covered flap that came down underneath the spill well, and your gas tank set up underneath there. Well, anyway, this guy and this lady had put in ahead of us, and they were sitting out there getting their stuff ready. And as we were backing in, you know, I was watching them, and this lady was sitting in her chair in back, but she was turned around facing the back of the boat, bent over like this, doing something. Well, this guy that was in front of the boat decided he was going to take off and go fishing. And anyway, when he shot the gas to this thing, it didn't just come up on plane. This thing actually just jumped out of the water. I never seen anything like it. Well, anyway, this lady was bent over like this, and it literally ran the boat out from underneath her, and it just rolled her right out the back of the boat. And luckily, she did have her life jacket on, and you know, she went far enough out the back of the boat, and the boat was going forward so fast that, you know, she didn't get hit by the prop, which was just a miracle. But I hollered at Clyde. Keith and I were in the boat, and Clyde was putting us in. He said, dump us in, dump us in. That guy who threw his wife out the back of the boat. So he dumped us in. I put the trolling motor down. We went out there and got her up in the boat, and got her over to the dock. And oh, she was madder than an old wet hen. But I mean, it was hilarious if you'd sit there and watched it. I mean, and we finally got her to see how funny it was, because I mean, it was just hilarious. The whole thing. Here she was bent over, and the next thing she just out the back of the boat. Well, this guy that was running the boat, shoot, he just had to hammer down, had his old hand up here on the stick steering, and down the lake he went. And we sat there and watched him, and we asked her, well, how long is it going to be before he realizes you're not in the boat? And he said, hell, I don't have any idea how far he's going, and he won't know I'm there. He may not know I'm there for 30 minutes after he gets there. And sure enough, it was almost like an hour and a half, and here come this boat idling up through there, and this old boy, he was standing up in the boat, and boy, I mean, he was just craving like this, and you know he was just scared the crap out of him. Had no idea where his wife was, where he lost her or anything. And anyway, she said, now don't you tell him I'm not bad when he gets up here. And anyway, so here he finally comes, and he finally spied her over there on the courtesy dock with us, and oh, he was relieved. And anyway, he pulled up there, and she lit into him and chewed him up one side and down the other. And we still just laugh and laugh about that whole event every time we think about it. I've had so many funny things happen to me fishing. It's just unbelievable.
Good times. Well, there's the girlfriend. Party's over.
Yep.
See you later.
All right.